In the soft blue glow of a console that hadn't been updated in 60 years, a soft ping echoed through the narrow halls of listening station Theta 7. Orbiting just beyond Saturn's rings, the station was a relic from a forgotten era, designed to monitor deep space transmissions in analog format, a security precaution from a time when digital signals could be hacked or spoofed. Now, it was a sanctuary of silence. The operator, simply known as Mara, woke not to an alarm, but to a shift in the station's hum. A new frequency was piercing the calm, faint, warped, but undeniably deliberate. She sat upright in her bunk, her breath misted in the cold air. Gravity boots clicked against the metal as she stood and walked toward the console. Signal received. Unknown origin. Bandwidth, 8.2 kilohertz. Modulation, analog. Analog. She hadn't seen a live analog feed in over 12 years. Her fingers, pale and steady, flipped the manual override switch. The console buzzed. Static filled the room. And then, "Please, remember Saturn." The voice was cracked, as if dragged through layers of time. Theta 7 had once been manned by a team of 12. Now Mara was alone. Each had either retired or vanished into distant postings. She stayed, not because she was ordered to, but because she couldn't leave. She had lost someone who had last transmitted from Titan's surface. For years, Mara monitored signals, cataloged anomalies, and listened for patterns that never came. Until now. The signal looped again, more complete this time. If anyone hears this, please tell them, Saturn still sings. Her hands moved quickly, recording the frequency, logging the waveform, analyzing its decay pattern. It matched one from 33 years ago. A burst transmission from Outpost Echo 4, lost in a methane storm on Titan. But that outpost was decommissioned, dismantled, no survivors. She paused, unless... Mara unearthed a locker beneath her console, inside a reel-to-reel analog recorder, heavy and dust-covered. Next to it, a tape labeled Echo 4, Final Logs. Her breath caught. She placed the tape in the recorder and pressed play. The hiss of static, followed by a voice she hadn't heard in over 3 decades. "This is Captain Juno Cade, Echo 4. Storm's picking up. We've shut down all systems except life support and transmitter. This tape is a backup if we don't make it. Remember, Saturn wasn't empty. It just forgot how to speak." Juno Cade, her brother. The new signal pulsed again, each loop clearer than the last. Something was activating it, or someone. She triangulated the source just beyond the outermost ring, in a debris cluster thought to be inert. Coordinates aligned with an old telemetry spike from 20 years ago. Could a transmitter still function out there? Could Juno have survived? No, impossible. But something of him had. She patched in the station's long-range dish. Slowly, she rotated the analog antenna, fine-tuning the frequency. Suddenly, clarity.
"Mara, is that you?"
The voice was degraded, but real.
"Juno?"
She whispered, barely breathing.
"I don't have long. The storm buried us, but I left a beacon, powered by decay cells. Took decades to stabilize."
"I remembered our lullaby. I played it into the rings. They echoed it back."
Tears welled up. Saturn had kept the song. She thought of their childhood, of the evenings on Mars Colony 6 when they'd listened to radio waves together. The lullaby had been a favorite. Simple, haunting, a melody that echoed like Saturn's rings. Now, that lullaby was a lifeline. She spent the next hours copying the signal to reel tape, every word, every breath, every pause. Then she replayed it into the station's memory core, etched into its analog heart. Mara knew he was gone, but in some way, the signal was him, an echo preserved in radiation and time. The final words on the tape. "Saturn still sings, Mara. I hope one day you'll hear me." She opened the comms. She transmitted back. "I hear you, Juno. I never stopped." She pressed record. A new log began. "This is Theta 7. Archive transmission initiated. Saturn speaks. We are listening." Weeks passed. The signal faded, then returned. Patterns emerged, words within static, sometimes a laugh, sometimes silence. The analog system kept recording. Mara stopped sleeping. She spent her days tuning the signal, chasing fragments, building a tapestry of memory and resonance. The lullaby returned, this time clearer, almost musical. It played softly through the speakers as Mara sat beside the console, eyes closed, remembering. She wasn't alone, not anymore. And Saturn was still singing. Months passed. The solar storm season began. Interference became the norm. Yet even through the radiation and flare, the signal endured, sometimes fading to a whisper, sometimes flaring with the urgency of a new word or memory. It had a rhythm now, as if learning how to speak through static. Mara decoded a new phrase one morning. Not gone, waiting. She didn't know if it was meant for her, or if it was an echo of something Juno had once said to himself. Either way, it felt alive. She recorded a response. I'll be here. On a hunch, Mara requested a scan of Titan's northern ice fields from an orbital drone still in semi-operational orbit. It took weeks for the drone to respond, then longer to process a path through debris. When the image finally arrived, it showed a distortion, a heat bloom, shaped like a long, decayed structure, possibly a buried transmitter, possibly Echo 4. She ran the coordinates. They matched the source of the signal. She activated a new uplink. Juno, I see you. The response came almost instantly. Then you know I never left. Mara began compiling everything, every signal, every response, every sound wave and modulation, meticulously recorded to tape. The archive was growing. She wrote in her final logbook, "Analog carries more than information. It carries intent, memory, soul." The next generation wouldn't hear Juno's voice digitally. They'd hear it crackle and echo just as she had. Real, unfiltered. The final entry. Let the universe remember. Saturn still sings. And Juno sang with it. Years later, when Theta 7 was finally scheduled for shutdown, a young technician arrived to decommission the station. He found Mara's notes, the tapes, the worn analog system still humming. Out of curiosity, he played the final log, and through the hiss, he heard it. A voice, a song, a message whispered across space. He copied it, he archived it, he listened, and Saturn sang again. The young technician, named Eli, found himself drawn deeper into the archive than he had anticipated. The tapes spun on the reel-to-reel, the voice of Juno whispering through the analog haze like a ghost from a forgotten time. Eli spent nights in the empty station, tracing the frequencies, trying to unravel the meaning behind the fractured words and lullabies. The station, once a relic of the past, became a beacon of mystery and hope for him. He began to notice patterns, almost musical sequences within the static, as if the signal was evolving, growing intelligent, learning to communicate in a language beyond words. One night, as the storm outside raged fiercely, the speakers emitted a clear tone, followed by a phrase he had never heard before. Waiting for you, to listen deeper. Eli shivered. It was no longer just an echo from the past, it was a call to the future. Eli dove into decoding the signal, working with old analog equipment alongside new digital processors, bridging two worlds of technology. Bit by bit, the messages revealed a story of sacrifice and connection. Juno and his team had discovered an ancient intelligence residing within Saturn's rings, a consciousness born of dust and ice, preserved in analog pulses and gravitational harmonics. This intelligence had taught Juno their lullaby, a cosmic melody that resonated with the fabric of space-time itself. In return, Juno encoded his memories and messages into the rings, hoping someone would eventually hear. As months turned into years, Eli became the new keeper of the archive, transmitting the signal beyond Saturn, out to the distant colonies and research outposts. The lullaby grew louder, clearer, no longer just a memory, but a living bridge across space and time. And one quiet evening, as Eli sat beneath the soft hum of Theta 7's analog heart, the voice came again, no longer faint or broken. Welcome home. Eli smiled, knowing the song was no longer just Saturn's. It was theirs, a symphony of loss, hope, and reunion echoing through the void.
The end.